Welcome to another episode of Monday Movie Pickup. We have here, You're in the Super Bowl, Charlie Brown. This is a VHS tape that, if you look on the side there, if it just gets into focus, it was only sold at Shell gas stations. And I was doing some research on different Peanuts specials and shorts, and most of them have been available on DVD. Some of them have been released on Blu-ray. There's not really a nice complete set though, and this is one of the specials that is only on VHS for whatever reason. It was never released on any other format. The Witches. So this is not the original film. This is the version that was done by Robert Zemeckis. It was exclusively released on what was then known as HBO Max, and apparently is no longer on the service. I did catch the movie at the time. I was not impressed by it. I haven't been impressed by a lot of recent Robert Zemeckis movies, but every once in a while he makes something I like. His most recent movie, Here, I enjoyed that movie actually. I thought it was pretty neat. So every once in a while he comes with something, and this actually has some special features: deleted scenes, featurettes, a gag reel. There's some different stuff in here. This is actually a set that was only released in a different territory. I believe it was just in the UK or the Europe area. This is not released on Blu-ray in the US, unfortunately, but this disc is region free, so as someone who's trying to collect most of the Robert Zemeckis movies, that is why I gave this a purchase. And we have here Aladdin. It's kind of weird because, I own the movie already. I have the Diamond Edition, but I don't have the Signature Edition. And this slipcover is actually an exclusive from the Disney Movie Club. I'm sure you can probably find it in Walmart now because a few of these have popped up at Walmart recently since Disney Movie Club has closed. It is just the Signature Edition. I never owned the Signature version. This was actually something I got through Disney Movie Insiders. Used to be known as Disney Movie Rewards. That also closed very recently, so I needed to use something for my points. There wasn't really any Blu-rays that I didn't own already that were available. Here's The Fugitive. The movie has been available on Blu-ray for many years, but from what I read, it wasn't like the greatest transfer in the world. This one is great. I've seen the movie already. I saw the movie for the first time a few years ago, and of course Warner Brothers with their boring disc art, but this is a fantastic movie. It looks just great on 4K, so it was a good way to return to the movie. So if you've never seen the movie, definitely give it a watch. It's great. Harrison Ford, one of his best performances. I think Tommy Lee Jones won an Oscar for the movie. It was even nominated for Best Picture at the time. And Vinegar Syndrome releases. So this is Once Upon a Time in Uganda. This is the slipcover for it, and this is actually a documentary about Hollywood. And Hollywood made some of the movies that, lower budget action movies, but the one most people are aware of is Who Killed Captain Alex. This is a documentary about all the filmmakers from Uganda and Hollywood. So if you've never seen some of the movies that come from Uganda, I would highly recommend it. Who Killed Captain Alex is just a great example of low-budget filmmaking, taking advantage of what you have and making something out of it. And here is one of the best movies of the past year, Hundreds of Beavers. Technically, it was released, I believe, in 2022, its official premiere. And it made it to some theaters in 2023. It actually did make it to my area in 2023, but I wasn't able to catch it at the time. Most people, I believe, caught it in 2024. So some people have been putting this on their list of best movies of 2024. I agree. I think it's incredibly inventive and original, and it pays tribute to lots of different forms of comedy, but also to like video games in a weird way. Like they fit that in there. There's 2 discs because they just stacked this with 3 audio commentaries. There's a VFX breakdown, which I'm very excited to watch because a lot of these effects were, they achieved it through like green screen, and obviously the beaver characters are just they're beaver suits, but everything for the most part is like practical. There's not like CGI touch-ups throughout. Incredible to watch. Like, it's a movie that doesn't really look like any other movie. Inside the booklet, they just have tons of posters. So that's the whole booklet. That's literally all this is. Like, there's not There's nothing about the movie itself. It's all just all the posters. So that's a fun book. Here's Shiva Baby. I believe this actually came out in 2021, if I remember correctly. I'm looking forward to giving this one a watch again. Just a lower budget comedy that was very effective with its comedy, with the story it was telling, and it even comes with a poster here. There you go. It's cool. And another poster. Here's a bit of an odd release. This is The Criminal Acts of Todd Slaughter. Todd Slaughter was an actor in Britain that popped up in a bunch of lower budget movies that just happened to be available. If you can see the movie titles here, but just some different details about what's in this box set. And he is somebody that is the star of many movies that come from that 200 horror collection that I have, like the 200 movie horror collection from Mill Creek, Tales of Terror. These movies, a lot of them actually show up in that box set, and I didn't realize they had actual restorations now on an official Blu-ray set like this. The movie that he's probably most famous for is the Sweeney Todd Demon Barber of Fleet Street, you know, the original film. So that is probably his most famous movie, but then he showed up in a lot of other movies. The Crimes of Stephen Hawking, that's another one that shows up in that box set. It's Never Too Late to Mend. A lot of these are just, like I said, lower budget, smaller movies. The Ticket to Leave Man, and Sexton Blake and the Hooded Terror. I think this is the first Indicator release that I've purchased. I don't think I've had anything from them in the past. The Face at the Window, but the one that I watched was Crimes at the Dark House, which was actually pretty enjoyable for what it was. Like I said, these are lower budget and quickly put together movies, so a lot of these came out around the same time, very quickly in succession. It's very cheesy stuff that he's in. If that movie that I watched anyway, Crimes at the Dark House, if this is telling of what all the other movies are, they're very cheesy. They're not subtle in any way about with the mystery surrounding the movie. It's not subtle, and it's almost like I think they're just hamming it up. I think they're having fun with the material. They're not taking it maybe too seriously, so that it turns into a pretty enjoyable time. Then we have some Bruce Lee stuff. I'm gonna just start out with I Am Bruce Lee. This is just a documentary about Bruce Lee. This is the Shout release, so Shout Collection did this, and I believe this is out of print now. I don't know if their version is available on Blu-ray anymore, but this actually should have came with the Bruce Lee collection that they released a couple years ago. They did a box set, and then they did releases individually of all his movies through the Shout Select line. This disc, I believe, was included with that box set. I believe there were some other special features that were included that aren't available on any of the other discs, but you can buy this separately at least. So, Game of Death, this is the Arrow video release, and as you can see on the back there, it also does include Game of Death 2. I previously purchased Way of the Dragon, and that was also a 4K release like this. Unfortunately, with this 4K release, Game of Death 2 is only available on Blu-ray. This is not a 4K disc, so this is region locked. That means I won't be able to watch it in my American 4K player even. It won't be able to play, but I can still put it in my computer. I should be able to rip the files for the most part, so I'll find a way to watch the movie through there, but it should be the same thing that's available through Criterion anyway, because Game of Death 2, I don't think there's been major changes between its different releases. The same can't be said for Game of Death, which has many versions, and unfortunately, the big box set that Arrow did of Golden Harvest, Bruce Lee at Golden Harvest, included a bunch of different bonus discs, and there is a way to get them all with the individual releases. Like Way of the Dragon accidentally included the final Game of Death disc, so they initially released it with that individually. They weren't supposed to. They were supposed to release it with the documentaries disc. So then they sent out replacement copies with the documentaries disc, but they let you keep the final Game of Death. That's what I did with my Way of the Dragon set. But there's also another disc with Game of Death that has different versions of Game of Death, but this individual set does not have that bonus disc, unfortunately. So there's no way to get that unless you get the whole big out-of-print box set. And, you know, every release that I have of Game of Death, the Criterion set, the Shout set, they all have other versions of Game of Death. And I don't know exactly how different they are between different versions, but it seems like every time it's been released, they try to do some original edit to the film, or there's different language cuts. I don't know. There seems to be like a million versions of Game of Death, and I don't know exactly how to sort through all of them. But now that I have the release from Arrow, from Criterion, and from Shout, but I still don't have that additional disc, I don't know exactly how I'll ever be able to sort them all out, unless I find that bonus disc somehow in the future. Here's the Big Boss, which has also the Mandarin cut, and luckily that is actually on a 4K disc. Both of these are Ultra HD discs. Just Bruce Lee for days, man. There's always another Bruce Lee set. And then finally, Fist of Fury. And this one actually only has one disc. That was the same for its release with the Golden Harvest box set. There was only the one disc that it came with. There wasn't an additional bonus disc for Fist of Fury. With the Shout set, with the Criterion set, there's just tons of special features to dig through, and some of it crosses over, some of it doesn't, but overall, that's so much of Bruce Lee to get through. And everything on 4K now, so I'll have to see how those 4K transfers look to see if they are a huge upgrade from the Blu-ray release that was done with Criterion or with Shout. But otherwise, that's everything for this week. We'll see you next time. Thanks for watching the video, and special shout out to Anna, Kirsten, Spencer, and Lucas for supporting me on Patreon. By joining my Patreon, you'll be able to get some exclusive videos, some different vlogs in the future, and you'll be able to request your own movie review. I hope you stick around, Cinephile, and have a happy, productive day.